All right, what's up, internet? Thanks for joining me for perhaps the last stream from this particular shop. This is live from the shop. Oh, what's up, Valiant Cashew? Hope your classes are over. Although it is a Friday, so you do have some time off. Thanks for joining us. What's up, Chris? What's up, Aaron? Yun, so thank you for joining me for what might be the last stream from this particular shop. If you haven't seen our posts, we are moving soon. Still in Makati, but with a location with a larger space with better parking. Although I will be sad to say goodbye. What's up, Ives de Ocampo? I will be a bit sad to say goodbye to this particular location. We were here for around 2 years. And this is really where at least the channel in particular grew up. This is where I shot the video that kind of got picked up by YouTube and it started snowballing. We've done a lot of builds in this shop, and this is sort of don't make me cry, Revenjan. Don't put those crying emojis. I know my emotions might get the better of me. But yeah, we've done a lot of builds in this shop. I mean, joking aside, I am a bit sad to move. We've done a lot of builds in this shop. There's a lot of history here, and it was such a big upgrade from our first shop. If you've seen our previous videos, where sobrang liit nung first shop namin, as in I could stretch out my arms and I could reach both ends without even trying. So it was really more like a closet than a shop. Di ko nga actually, I can't imagine how Gerald used to do the builds before and to pack things. So when we got to this shop, it was really this space. It was really a godsend kasi mas madali na talaga to do builds, and it was an affirmation that medyo tama naman yung ginagawa namin as a shop na we business kind of expanded, that we could move to a bigger place. So medyo malapit sa Walter Mart yung bagong location. Actually, mas malapit sa Don Bosco. If you know Geely, the Chinese car brand, they have a showroom on Chino Roses. We're right beside Geely. So papasok kayo, we're on the second floor. Pero yung maganda sa bagong location, maraming parking. Tapos we'll have staff on hand dun sa parking. So kung kailangan mo ng tulong pagbuhat sa computer or you just need help with directions, somebody will be on hand at the parking lot to help you. So may walkie-talkie yan, so he can radio us na, parating na si Mr. So-and-so or si Miss So-and-so. So it's a lot easier now to find the shop. Although madali rin naman tong current location. Although not for the delivery guys. The delivery guys are always calling me like, "Sir, nasaan na kayo?" Because if you've been to the shop, alam mo na sa gilid kami ng building. You don't need to enter the building, but you do need to pass here through the side. So it was a bit of a hassle for the delivery guys. At least dito sa bagong location, yun nga, we'll have staff on hand sa parking pa lang to assist customers and to assist the courier pickups. Then Revin Jan, you should be quite familiar with the location. Yun nga, we're just on Chino Roses. Valiant, miss namin tong shop, sir. I will miss it also, but yun nga, parang there are several advantages to moving to a larger space. I'll tell you more about it after we run our usual ad. TY to our sponsor.
Bibili ka ng PC, most likely kailangan ng Windows. Pero saan ka kukuha ng legit Windows? Daming options, daming prices. Baka nito.
Buti na lang, may cdkeyoffers.com.
Madali lang ang order.
Search for the software you need, add to cart, daan ka sa payment options nila.
Wala pang 5 minutes, finished! May legit working CD key ka na para sa Windows mo.
Gamitin lang aming code para makakuha pa ng discounts.
Kaya kung naghahanap ka ng legit, mura, at original software,
Check out cdkeyoffers.com.
Alright, thank you, CDKey. I had to make sure that my mic was on, but you can see that we're slowly, after how many darn live streams, we're slowly getting used to the technicals of live streaming. Of course, we'll still be doing the live from the show from the new shop. I saw a question about the new shop. Like moving out from your home to another house. Yep, it really is, in a way. Parang na-attach ka na dito sa luma, and then yun nga, kailangan to, we're moving to a bigger spot. But definitely, so if you can see, the current shop now, we only have space for 2 tables, and then we have an office table here on the right, and then another office table there on the left. So here I am already at the door, and and you'll notice wala ng shelves. We already dismantled the shelves. That's why a lot of the stuff is on the floor. And the new space is easily double the size of this old space. So we can really get more yun. Personally, when we moved in here, hindi naman to nakatambak. But even before with the shelves, nakatambak na to sa harap. And one of the things I'm always ranting about the other, well, di naman sa naninira sa competitors, but as a consumer, yung ayoko dati sa ibang shop, sobrang sikip. Like, hindi masaya mag-browse kasi parang feeling mo may matatamaan ka, may masisipa ka. So, when we put up our own shop, I always wanted it to be that kind of place na you can just go to any display and pick up an item, look at it, and things like that. And we were already starting to get really cramped in the old space. Like, all of these boxes were really dumped here, for lack of a better word, even when we had shelves here. So definitely the new space will allow us to display things better. And awa ng Diyos, we're constantly expanding our inventory also, more orders, more inventory that we can come in, but also more headaches, to be honest, kasi ang hirap to keep track of everything and the more customers to keep track of things. But yun, I mean, that's part of growing up, no? Parang you start out living with your parents, or you start out living in the first condo that you can afford na sobrang liit, and then slowly, di ba, pag asenso na, you kind of work your way up. So that's what we're doing. To be honest, like, ultimately, I'd like to have my own place because I'm tired of having to deal with landlords and things like that. So I'd like to have my own place na ganda nung exterior, ganda nung display. Pero medyo malayo-layo pa tayo in the future. But, we're always planning, we're always thinking ahead here at Hardware Sugar, and God willing, hopefully, that will come to pass one day. But, yeah, so this place, yun nga, actually, yeah, I don't want to like super dwell on nostalgia, but this place was really Rafael Ismail in the chat spamming na naman with his member stickers. So yeah, this is a good place. We shot a lot of videos here, especially the first video that really caught YouTube's attention, that parang pinush out sa maraming tao. So I'll always be forever grateful to this place. Yeah, but anyway, onward to bigger things, may hopefully better. I do want to point out, so we'll start the show proper, and tama na sa yak-yak. The bench I'm using now is pretty interesting to stream, and if suddenly the stream cuts out, actually hindi sa amin tong computer na to. The GPU is ours, the SSD is ours, but everything else, the MOBO, the CPU, and the RAM, the PSU is ours. But the MOBO, the RAM, and the CPU are actually from a customer. He bought them from us, and they were with him for a while, but he was complaining na nagka-crash siya when he does streaming. Like, even browsing or Spotify, mabilis mag-crash yung computer. So he sent back the motherboard, and we tried it out. We tested it. We couldn't find anything wrong with it. So we also asked him for the other parts. So the CPU, I think it's a 3800X with the stock cooler. I never remember if it was the Wraith stock cooler with the RGB or the other one. But this is probably a 3800X, since I think the 3700 doesn't come with the RGB. Anyway, so we asked for the CPU back and the Trident. Let's get a better shot of the Trident. The Trident RAM. And I'm using it to stream right now. If there's anything, if suddenly mawala yung stream, that means na nag-crash nga yung computer. But so far, we've stress tested this over several days. We've been running different internet things on it to try to get it to crash, but it hasn't crashed. And so we're doing this live. We're doing live from the shop using the bench from the customer to try to get it to crash, actually. So, actually, ginagamit ko kayo lang, I'm just using you guys. Ginagamit ko lang tong stream na to try to troubleshoot for a customer. So, sorry that you guys are my guinea pigs. But if the customer is watching, here we are. We're really trying to stress test this, your parts to try to get them to crash. The only thing that we've been able to identify really is that I think PSU is the problem. Well, this is an EVGA 1200 watts, and it's pretty solid. We use it also in our other test benches, and we've kind of certified that there's nothing wrong with it. So for this, we posted a little bit about Windows before and how Windows updates can screw everything up, and then we got some comments saying that it's not really that bad, and you can disable Windows updates and things. The only thing actually that we've been able to figure out with this system is that we're running an older version of Windows. It's not 2.1H, I think, is the latest update. I think we're the one before that. I think the customer is running the latest. So, well, if it crashes on that, then it's a Windows software problem, which, unfortunately is not uncommon, but it does show that it's not a hardware problem. So, you know, some of the comments were like, well, Windows Update isn't so bad. I really beg to differ. As a shop, every time there's a major Windows update, customers are always messaging us asking, but nawala yung Bluetooth ko, but biglang unstable yung system ko. And it's hard to explain that, it's not the fault of the hardware that you got from us. It's Windows. So it's always a big headache when a new Windows update comes around. And I'm super looking forward, not looking forward to Windows 11's. I'm sure may mga shenanigans din sa Windows 11 pag update. But yun, even if we really do try to isolate as much as possible, is it hardware? And if it's hardware, alam mo naman yung no BS warranty policy namin, we will really replace that. Pero yun nga, we first need to identify if it really is hardware. And for this particular build, yun nga, we're streaming, no problem, everything is green. And we have been testing it on our own outside of the stream for a couple of days now. So far, we haven't been able to get this thing to break. Which is what I instruct our staff, basically. When somebody brings a component with something like this na it's not clear what causes it to crash, what makes it unstable. So my instructions are always, let's make it break. Let's try to break the computer. Run it on load, run it on anything, that will stress it out, and we'll go from there. Casey Bolyos, despedida, stream ba to? Di naman. I think I can actually still get one more stream from this shop, but I don't know, we've kind of accelerated our timetable, so we can actually start moving in quite soon. So this really might be the last stream, but I'm hoping to get at least one more in this shop. So, alright, so if you're new to the show, basically I just tour you around what we have in the shop. I do have a special request for you guys. If you're looking for an AIO, can you please buy this Lumen S24 from us and let us install it? Because I just want to see, like personally in real life, gaano pa kaganda itong yung CPU block niya. Because it's so unique looking. It's more subdued, thus it's more mood enhancing rather than like super bright RGB. And it's like it's like an orb. So the design aesthetic is really different. I'm sure the performance is Fractal design. How can you go around Fractal design? But we did have somebody buy this from us, but I think he's installing it on his own, so I won't get to see it. So if you guys are in the market for a new AIO and you want us to install it, do me a solid and do consider the Lumen S24. One build. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's move some boxes. One build that we did get confirmation of today that we're gonna do is this guy, which I'm also super excited to see in real life. The Fractal design Torrent. All right, there you go. And I know it's not much to look at right now. It's in its boring brown box, but all of the reviews have been superlative about this guy. There was some issue with the included fan hub, but I did confirm with our supplier that these are the replaced fan hubs already, or the corrected fan hubs, and this thing looks great. Actually, to be honest, I wouldn't get it for my own case because I find it too big. I'm trying to downsize. If you've seen my old rig, you know that my current case is really a monster. I want to downsize that. But just aesthetics and the airflow on this thing, the Torrent, the Fractal Design Torrent, supposed to be really, really good. So somebody just downpaid for a rig using that case today, so I'm super excited. Oh, for us to do that build. Are you guys still there? Did we crash? But I can still see my camera froze, right? Oh, the stream froze. Stream froze. Anyone still there? Hello? The camera only. Okay. It's just Droid Cam on my cell phone. Okay, because yeah, all the other specs were. I thought I jinxed it. I'm like, all this talk about like, yeah, this motherboard is fine and this ano is fine, and then I jinxed it pala. Wait, let me try to get Droid Cam back up and running. Man, just when I was blathering on about how great the torrent was, and I had it focused on the torrent, but Let me try to get Droid Cam back up and running. Okay, hang on a sec, guys. As you know, with all of our streams, something always goes wrong. But if this is the only thing that goes wrong, okay na. We can live with that. Okay, let me see if I can get Droid Cam back up and running. All right. Do you see OBS? Yes. All right, there we go. All right. So yes, well, really not much to look at. We haven't opened it yet, but yeah, there's the torrent. So it's a really good case. We got confirmation today that the customer is like, yeah, yeah, let's do that build na ano. Let's do that build using the torrent. So I'm super excited to see this guy in action. The camera only, it's working fine. Where are you moving, sir? To a place also in Makati on Chino Roces. So actually the parking is better. It's probably easier to get to. Although itong Giho, I kind of like it. It's kind of out of the way. But yeah, we're moving to Chino Roces. This guy, I don't know if this is a new build. Like I'm laughing because I come into the shop now and we're doing so many things that I really don't quite remember anymore everything, like all of the rigs that are going on. But I actually think this is second-hand PC that we are certifying. I mean, we sold it na as a second-hand PC and it's just waiting for its owner to come in. And then yung maganda dito, it still has our 1 year. Ang ganda nung TD 500 mesh side panel just clean, tas nice screws. Anyway, yeah. So this guy is sold already. But we still extend our 1 year no BS warranty even to this, which is second hand. Actually, it doesn't look second hand at all. I think I couldn't even tell it's new. Um, yeah, but this guy is sold out. It just hasn't. I mean, this particular second hand has been sold. We're just waiting for the owner to pick it up. Valiant may ribbon cutting. I don't know. We don't want to really make it that big a deal. Let's wait until we upgrade to like a super talagang sobrang bongga place, and then I guess we can do a ribbon cutting. I'd like to invite, when we do get to that kind of upper level, like talagang tunay na store, and it's commercial and it's really easy to get to. Like I'd like to invite, of course, everybody who follows the channel, but also like our suppliers. We've made a lot of friends with because I'm basically talking to them every day. Like kinukulit ko sila, oy Ronel, may available na ba yung CPU, or oy Myra, available na ba yung GPU, or I basically make kulit the suppliers a lot. So when we do get like a place na pang ribbon cutting, I'd like to of course I'll invite everyone on the stream, but and those who follow the channel, those who follow the page, and customers. But I also want to, I would also invite our friends from the suppliers, because without them, they really make my job a lot easier, and I'm super thankful na they put up with me being so kulit. Although to be fair, it's not always my fault, okay? Because sometimes may custom items, so kailangan mo ta silang tanungin, di ba? Uy, in stock ba to? Or do you have this or something? So sometimes it's it's not. Yes, it's me, but like I'm just passing on a customer request. Pesto, Anton, do you have like a trivia? Like, what was the business which used to occupy the space you're moving into? This space actually, there was nothing here. This was a brand new building. We were the first business to occupy this. Actually, this is 2 units. So this wall that you see in front of me, we put up this wall so that they subdivided the space into two. When we wanted a bigger space, we were actually thinking of getting the space in front of us also. So like we tear down this wall, like the Berlin Wall, if that might be a dated reference. But anyway, we would tear down this wall because we were the ones who put it up also, rent also the space in front. So we would still be in the same spot but have a much bigger space. Although for cost efficiency, it was just cheaper to move because this other space, it's on the second floor, so it's much bigger, but it's also cheaper. But it doesn't have a view. I will actually miss this kind of like green and it's all glass. The other one is really enclosed talaga. So it is cheaper for the space that we get. But we did consider also just expanding the current space that we have here, kasi the unit in front of us is empty. They were like an ad agency ata before or something, but a lot of businesses have closed down during the pandemic, and unfortunately they moved out. I'm not sure if they moved out or like they had to close down their business, so it's kind of sad. But just to answer Pesto's question, this particular building, this space specifically, wala pang nobody was here before us. So we were the inaugural business. And I hope I hope whoever is the occupant of this next space has the same good fortune that we did, because we really kind of worked out here. I had good times in this shop. Okay, so just a little show and tell, which is what we usually do for live from the shop. This is actually a Fantech case, the Pulse CG71. They sent it to us for review. To be honest, not the usual type or not the usual price range that we carry in the shop. This is a more budget-oriented case, and not to, I'm not saying like anything negative about that. I mean, everybody has their own price point, and um, you work with what you have, diba? To get the best parts that you can with the budget that you have. So I haven't the staff have set this up, but we haven't really started running it yet because we're still using parts in the test bench. But offhand, it really reminds me of an MSI Vampiric. So the front looks very much like a Vampiric. You do have a mesh inlet here, so like half of the front or like a third of the front, so that should get some air in. And then the inside looks very much like a Deep Cool case, where you have the PSU shroud. Although Deep Cool likes to have a cutout here, so you can see sort of the branding of the PSU. There's no cutout here. Our staff also was complaining, Gerald was complaining na walang grommets. Medyo na, to be honest, I think our staff also are a little spoiled kasi I am also a little spoiled kasi we really target sort of the more enthusiast level market. So the stuff we carry is a bit high end. So Gerald was complaining to me na ang sikip mag cable management, like this is the PSU already, and the space between the PSU and here, basically in the cavity, behind the PSU shroud, there's not much room to cable manage there. If you've had a build from us, you know that Gerald and Jay take their cable management very seriously. We've used an AS500 Plus here, but I don't know if actually this will close. This seems to be like really jutting out. Might be too large. To be fair, not to diss the case. I mean, usually cases this size wouldn't have a full tower CPU like this. I think the AS500 Plus is 164 mm, I think, or something, which is quite tall for a CPU cooler. It is a big boy cooler. It does fit an ATX case. I noticed they put in the MSI X570A Pro. It does come with 3 fans, and then Fantech gave us more fans, but we were only able to use the 4th one here because the cooler was so big already. So I am interested to see how it looks like once we get it up and going, and we'll run some benchmarks and things like that. And again, it's not. I'm always curious to find different items at different price ranges. Just because we don't usually carry Fantech doesn't mean that I'm not interested in trying to see if there are any good ideas here, or for its price. We always think like that, Parang yes, of course it's not the most expensive, not the most premium, but for its price, is it a good buy? Preliminarily, I would think so. Pero yun nga, let's thumb screws. But we will run it through its paces. So yeah, Fantech's Prime Pulse CG71. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to the computer to see that everything is still working. Okay. Kaiser, congrats on the store upgrade. Thank you. It is very much an upgrade, really. It's a much larger space. Yeah, we can only fit 2 tables here, and the first table is really always for the test bench. Whatever we're trying to diagnose here, then that leaves just 1 table in the back for the build, and that's sometimes we get multiple builds, sometimes we get walk-ins, so it's really becoming parang medyo mahirap na talaga in this existing space. We really need to expand. But yun, it is an upgrade, but I will miss this. I will miss this old space. Christian Pere, I like the look of the case. Yep, that's the Fantech Pulse CG71. Jay's Beers, will you be reviewing the Intel 12th Gen CPUs? We want to. Baka naman Intel, or baka naman one of our suppliers will send us an Intel CPU for review. But actually, we'll probably be carrying it because the performance seems to be as good, if not better, than the current AMD. And that's really how we approach things. Like, what's better for the customer? We're brand agnostic. Like, we really don't care if you're NVIDIA or AMD or Intel, but we just really try to get what's best, cost to performance wise. And lately, that's really been AMD. It's kind of hard really to recommend Intel 10th gen, 11th gen, But they seem to have turned the corner, at least dun sa mga chismis sa benchmarks for the 12th gen. And we're actually, I am personally quite excited to see the 12th gen in action. Kung hype lang ba to, or, has Intel, really gotten its performance back. Top, Janus. Rocky the programmer says, I need my grommets. We know, man. We know. We're even complaining about the Deep Cool CG540 na, walang... It did have grommets, but like, they could have added more grommets. You see, well, we'll see. Cost to performance. Rocky the Programmer, actually, and Jay, and maybe Ren, tomorrow will be playing around with this guy, the Eve Spectrum 4K monitor. 4K monitor, 144 Hz, sent to us for review. I personally already played around with it at the house, so we're gonna B-roll it here at the shop. Ooh, and oh, I did not mean to mess up the... How are we going to unpeel? Darn it. So, thoughts on the Eve Spectrum? It's an interesting monitor, also in part because it's not from a big brand like Samsung, LG, Asus. So the origins of Eve are interesting. Apparently they started on Kickstarter or one of those bootstrap projects. This one is very Apple. It doesn't come with a base, so you can just when you buy the monitor, it's just the monitor, because based on the research, they're like a lot of the enthusiasts have VESA mounts naman, which is true. It also doesn't come with any cables of any sort, so no display cable, no HDMI cable. Again, that kind of Apple aesthetic na very minimalist, and assuming that, they probably have already something in their house or, in their stock for that. So very minimalist. I love like the back of this. Like, I love this stand, or this is like a club and it's really hefty, super bigat nito. There's a triangle, which is their logo, which reminds me of the Assassin's Creed guys. Who's the big bad corporation in Assassin's Creed? Basta basically, when I see this kind of triangle, I'm like, ooh, if you played Assassin's Creed, diba, you can find these memory fragments. I'm always waiting. Like, when I see this, I'm like, okay, unlock a memory fragment or something. But I do like this stand. Not that you see much of it from the front. The front is actually very, again, Apple-like, austere, very minimalist. If you know me, my taste I like a bit more aggression in like my aesthetic. So the square base doesn't appeal to me. I like the triangle of the Asus monitors. But the monitor itself was quite good. And yeah, they're gonna try it out in the shop tomorrow. But okay, let me just kind of paranoid now, so I gotta make sure the stream's still working. All right. DDR5 RAMs, Valiant, they are coming. That's really my only comment. They're coming basically at this point. If you're thinking of 12th gen Intel will support DDR5. I guess the 6000 series of AMD, because they're also moving to a different socket format, AM4, will support that as well. As usual, whenever there's an upgrade in number, there's a connotation that it's much faster and things like that. But I haven't really, I haven't gotten my hands on any DDR5 yet, so I can't really say from experience. Although, we're kind of in a nebulous area right now. If you're thinking of buying a new rig, you might want to wait a little bit. Not just for prices to hopefully go down, but if you buy an AMD rig now, this is it. This is the height of that platform. Kasi wala nang lalabas na bagong AM4 socket CPUs. So your mobile will only be up to the 5000 series. And that's assuming you get something like the X570. Most likely, I think it's DDR5 for the next gen of AMD. Same with Intel. Well, Intel mas malala pa, di ba? Parang every generation they change socket. So you might want to wait a little bit just so that it's more future-proof. And I kind of like cringe when I say future-proof kasi we've talked about before how it's not, it's really hard to determine what is future-proof and things like that. But if you have an eye towards upgrading, you might want to wait a little bit kasi these current platforms, the AMD 5000 series and then the Intel 11th gen, are basically the pinnacle already. Ito na yung pinaka the best na maabutan nila. The next up will feature different RAM, feature different motherboard sockets and things like that. Rocket Programmer, is Eve VESA compatible? Yeah, it is. That's why they made the stand optional. So the stand is extra. Because they figure that you have your own stand at home, VESA stand that you will mount the monitor onto. Which I think is smart, but at the same time, it's targeted to a very specific market, itong Eve Spectrum. 4K, 144 Hertz. All right. The next up for show and tell is this bonkers build that we are still waiting for the case of. But so basically we had a client come to us and he said that, I want a PC that it needs to be Razer Chroma kasi Razer Chroma can talk with Philips Hue. Kasi he wants his computer RGB to sync up also with the lights in his room. So it was really kind of difficult. RGB is really difficult to to figure out. Even in the best of circumstances where you get it all from the same manufacturer, sometimes the parts just won't work because you run out of power on a daisy chain, so you need another fan hub or things like that. It gets even more complicated if you have multiple brands. So we really had to kind of do our research here. But basically, this is the pinaka top of the line that you can get. So we have a 5950X CPU, 3090 RTX, Aorus Extreme. He has three, not one, not two, but three NVMe M.2 drives and 2 terabytes of that. So 2 terabytes. So this is 6 gigabytes right here. Plus he has a 16 terabyte Iron Wolf. Is this Iron Wolf Pro? I can't. I think it is Pro. I also want to order this. Is there an Iron Wolf Pro? Iron Wolf, for those not familiar, oh yeah, it is Iron Wolf Pro. I can see it says Pro there. Iron Wolf is the line of Seagate specifically made for NAS or network attached storage, meaning that they are rated to run faster. They're more durable. They're rated to run longer than their normal Barracuda line because they assume that things in NAS or network attached storage will be running more frequently than normal hard drives. So the Streamer Plus cables, this is the 24 pin for the motherboard, but this is the one for triple 8 pin. So this is the special version of the Streamer Plus. It has the 3 8 pins for the GPU. Kraken Z73 for AIO. The lovely, and I can't wait to when we start building this, the lovely X570 Taichi from ASRock. There's Velcro and it opens up. Maximize your device with Razer Synapse 3. So this is really like, wow, damn, look at this. I've actually complimented the Taichis before. I've mentioned them in the streams and the videos. I really like the look of the Taichi. So this is the Razer edition of that motherboard. Look at those heat sinks. Just aesthetically, performance it's supposed to be good also, but I mean, it's a statement motherboard. I mean, it's kind of like the B550 Vision. Parang you look at it and you're like, wow, damn. I mean, look at this thing. And ASRock has packaged it accordingly. Like yun nga, like you're opening a premium graphics card or a premium headset. Actually, I don't know. I think when I see these Velcro things, I think headset. So rounding out the case RGB is the Unifans SL120. Not one, not two, but three of these guys, and they're triple pack. So these are 9 of the Unifans that we're gonna put into the case. And what is the case? That is what we are waiting for, the Lian Li O11D Razer edition. And so we have to get all Razer para compatible sila lahat sa Chroma, except for the Z73. The customer was just really blown away with the LCD display, so he decided na, okay, I don't mind having, separate cam software, and then the Razer Chroma will take care, or Synapse rather, will take care of all the other RGB. Well, I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that Lian Li is supposed to work with Razer Synapse. Supposed to, right? Supposed to. So I'm crossing my fingers na tama nga yun, and we're just gonna have to cross our... And then, it'll eventually also sync up with his Philips Hue. On paper, everything on paper looks good, but we don't know. Yeah, that's a really problem sometimes with computers. You just have to build it and see if everything works. And powering this beast will be the HX 1000 from Corsair, 1000 watts. Again, no expense spared. I don't want to mention the cost of this computer on camera, but it is a pretty penny. And I'm super excited to build. Not me. That our tech again, as I mentioned before, our tech guys do builds much better than me. Their work is much more polished, much more quality than when I build. So it wouldn't be me touching these things, but I'm excited to see it all built up. But we're still waiting for the case, and actually we had a problem with that because it was supposed to come in, but it didn't, and things like that. But anyway, lots of headaches, lots of headaches running a shop. Kirk, yes. I went Kirk saying he went here kanina. I know. I saw the stuff. It's always updating me on Slack, like who came in and stuff like that. So I understand you got your rig na. Congrats. That's a nice rig. Z53 pa nga yung AIO, 'di ba? You added the Z53 AIO. ah. Um to be honest, like I'm not in the store often. I mean, I randomly pop in occasionally, but it's a little hard to catch me at the shop, is what I'm saying. Although I do pop in randomly, but I do appreciate. Thank you for supporting the channel and from buying from us. Most important is we're a shop. I mean, aside from the YouTube, the Facebook, and all those social media kalokohan, we're really primarily a shop, and um, I'm really super thankful to all the people who trust us with their money to buy from us. Rocky the Programmer, bonkers na build, ASLI yung 390. Don't give the customer any ideas kasi feeling ko he might be tempted to SLI 390. But I mean, it's not, I mean, I also couldn't in good conscience recommend that kasi ano ba performance gains mo if you SLI? I mean, although I did, ITX Addict recommended a video to me where the guy on the YouTube channel did SLI the 3090s, but I was just shaking my head. I'm like, why, man? Why? You don't really need to go down that road. I mean, that's too much now. So I mean, I couldn't in good conscience recommend an SLI 3090, unless you're mining or something like that. Although this one I know is not meant to be a miner. The Torrent case actually, the case with the Torrent is supposed to be a miner. That's a long story actually, because I was trying to tell the customer that please, if this is for a miner, you want a different kind of setup, medyo open air. You want you want like motherboard with a lot of PCIe, so cables. But and I talked about this in my previous stream, I think 2 days ago on Crypto Watch, where it's a bit difficult explaining like what kind of miner you want to have. But anyway, the customer, ultimately, of course, the customer decides, and they were like, oh, okay na to. So we're like, okay, and well, I'm excited now. That will also have the Torrent build will also have a 3090, but that'll be for mining. This O11 Razer build will just be for basically pure aesthetics. But he will have the most powerful gaming build in the Philippines, pretty much with dual 3090s. Kaiser, performance gains are nothing compared to aesthetics, right? I mean, well, yeah. This build, to be honest, well, a lot of it went to performance. So you got, I mean, like, bonkers, man. 2TBs, NVMe, and 970 Evo Plus, 16 terabyte thing, 3090, of course. But I mean, you could really like a big boy air cooler would have been just as good performance-wise as a Z73. Not knocking the Z73, but it brings other things to the table. The Streamer Plus, the pure aesthetics, man, pure aesthetics. I mean, we all know that making your RGB red adds plus 10 FPS. So like plus 10 FPS, plus 10 FPS, 20 FPS na to. Then maybe plus 2 FPS per fan. So how many does that get us, right? But yeah, I mean, this build, there are other considerations other than just straight up performance, and we also want to cater to that. I mean, what makes you happy, diba? As long as you're happy with the build that you're getting, it could be because it's a screamer build, could be it's a nice looking build but not a screamer. It could be both a screamer and a performance build and an RGB build. So, diba, whatever makes you happy, and we really try to cater to that. Gotta have those PCIe slots filled. Amen. I don't feels incomplete when you have these guys like empty. Gotta fill those guys up. Aaron, when do you think that the price of parts will fall? They were already falling They were falling around June, I think was the best that I've seen them in a long while. Now they've started picking up again. But it's kind of interesting kasi it's not hindi sila in sync. Like RAM will go up, then RAM will go down. Monitors are constantly going up, I've noticed. CPUs were good before, now they're starting to go up. GPUs actually are not so bad, especially now with the LHR models where if you're not going to be mining, you can just get a good LHR model. Those are cheaper than the non-LHR. But yun nga, hindi sila sabay-sabay. Yeah, CPUs have been going up. Monitors, I noticed, have been going up quite dramatically, percentage-wise. Pero since, everybody's like obsessed with GPU, even if you're kind of a beginner, you think, oh, PC, you think GPU. But actually, a lot of the other prices have been quietly going up as well. CPU, monitor. RAM, actually, memory is always very volatile. RAM and SSD, sometimes they go up and sometimes they're way down. So, and this is like in the span of a month or 2 months or something like that. So, PSUs have been a little stable with a little price increase, I've noticed. So, when are they going down? They have already gone down somewhat from their peak. But they're constantly going up and down, so it's really difficult to say. What's up, John Paul Bonifacio? Good afternoon. Will you guys also get stock for Halo RX 6900? What brand is that? Is Halo Zotac? I'm not sure, to be honest. If you're asking if we're gonna be stocking the RX 6900, oh, they're really a tough sell. Kasi if you're super high end, you kind of look towards Nvidia, and we have a limited budget as a shop, so we're always just trying to buy the things na medyo alam namin na mabebenta kaagad. So it is a tough sell. We might, if it's a custom order, we probably might be able to get it, but we have no plans of actually having it permanently on stock. And so, of course, show and tell would not be complete without the new shirts. If you've missed somehow our Facebook posts, our YouTube posts, and all those other posts, we have our first merchandise, like official merchandise. We have 3 different kinds of shirts. This is PC Anatomy in white, PC Anatomy in black, and PC Anatomy RGB, which is this guy. So you'll find much better pictures on our Facebook store and our site. Our site also has them. These are limited edition in the sense that we will never be reprinting them. We might reprint in different sizes because we've had a lot of requests actually for PC Anatomy RGB black, which is only up to large. Because our supply ran out. Lahat may supply issues, even yung t-shirts. So yeah, if you're I'm quite proud of these shirts. Like Rafael, my brother, helped design them. The staff helped design them. So everybody pitched in to contribute their ideas and things like that. And then the thing we were going for was na, you have a friend who's not into computers but wants to learn. It's super easy to point to your shirt and say that, oh, this is the RAM, this is the CPU, and things like that. And it's just a fun shirt. We didn't really go super OA with the branding. Like we didn't tattoo hardware sugar everywhere on the shirt. It's more of an enthusiast shirt na, when people see it, you're like, oh, you're a computer guy, because obviously based on the design, it's a computer, and computer parts and things like that. So it's not really so much like, oh, hardware sugar. It's more like, again, parang more enthusiast level. So we will not be reprinting these guys. That's the only edition we'll have. I mean, we might change up the colors at a certain point, maybe change the design a little bit. But this particular design, we want all of our runs to be like that. If we make a shirt, yun na yun. It's really a limited run. Kind of like Magic. Baka maka 3rd ed, 4th ed, may konting. There might be some cosmetic changes, but they'll never again be like that exact design. Electric screwdrivers for PC building. I have not used them myself. I'm always using manual screwdrivers or no screwdrivers at all. Sometimes. Although if you're really building, I mean, with a GPU and depending on your case, you might be able to get away with no screwdrivers. But like you're building, you do need a screwdriver. One thing that a screwdriver is also useful for. You notice that this bench is not connected to a case. So to turn it on, and it doesn't have a power button, which some motherboards like my motherboard does. So to turn it on, I had to jumpstart it using the JFP1 headers here. So I got my screwdriver and stuck it in there, and that's how you jumpstart a motherboard that's not connected to a case. So screwdrivers in general are super useful. um, I've never used an electric one. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with it as long as you're careful. Although I do know other builders who have recommended against it because you don't have as much control with with an electric screwdriver. It's not really necessary, at least from my point of view, because you're not really screwing a lot. I mean, you turn the screwdriver, but it's not like you have to do that for like 20 minutes before the screw is actually in there. So you don't need the super fast performance of the electric screwdriver. But again, I have nothing against it personally as long as you're careful and you don't go crazy and go like that. Actually, this this is since Rocky the Programmer is watching. Rocky the Programmer, I got us foam. I think these are parang I don't know if these are PVC, but these are much thicker. So these are the white foam pads. So pang yung sa unboxing natin bukas. Hopefully these come out better on video. So there are two of them so that we can put the item on the thing, and then the other one is the backdrop. So hopefully those come out better than just like flimsy cartolina. Because the staff will be doing a lot of stuff actually at the shop tomorrow. A roll for a graphics card review. A graphics card actually, which was lent to us by a customer. A customer and one of our YouTube top fans. He bought a Gigabyte 3080 Ti, and then he was like, "Why don't you guys use it?" Like I'm like, "Are you sure? Because you just bought it. It's literally brand new." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll go to the store. I'll pay for it, but I won't get it. You guys open it and yeah, play around with it, like benchmark it, try do some mining on it. See how good it is." And again, like that, a super thank you to that customer. And just in general, we have a lot of customers who are very generous with their time and with their resources who really help out the shop. So no exaggeration, I'm super their time, the expertise, the hardware they have. So I'm really thankful for that. And yeah, I can't think of any other store that has its customers lending items to the store instead of baliktad. We had a customer who gave us his old 2080 Super, which he also bought from us, which is now serving as a replacement GPU. So with another customer, so parang we always try to what goes around comes around. Like we get some items in, we lend them out when needed. We hope to have some giveaways during this Christmas for some of the items sent to us for review that we're not really using a lot of. So it'll be better if somebody else might be able to benefit from it. So we hope to have a kind of like a giveaway series in Christmas. That's also one good point of the moving is that we'll be able to take stock of like some of the items that got sent to us for review kasi medyo natatambak na sila sa likod. So I'm looking forward to a better managed inventory and like process of like, wait, where this item go and can we give this away na and things like that. Yeah, so the staff will be here tomorrow to get B-roll of the Spectrum, do the review on the graphics card, and get B-roll on a motherboard. Yeah. 6600 XT around 60K. We did sell one 6600 XT. I think it was around 20 plus thousand, 25, I think. So if just based on that, I guess kaya naman. Might be a bit tight, to be honest. 5600X is around 17,000. The GPU nga is maybe around 25 or so-ish. So that's more than half your budget right there. I guess kaya, but you'll really cut some corners. Maybe 70 to 80 might be, a better budget for that rig. Guys are following GM's t-shirt release, I see. Gamers Nexus. Actually, is GN like that? Like it's kind of limited edition. I haven't really followed the merch of the other YouTubers. All I know is Linus's underwear because when I heard that, I'm like, that's one merch we'll definitely never have here in Hardware Sugar. Just because why underwear? But I know Gamers Nexus has the mouse pad, which actually looks very nice. It's super large and it has like the schematics or diagrams. Um, we did have, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but we did have a subscriber on YouTube who ordered from Linus Tech Tips the LTTstore.com. And the merch that they sent over, well, he bought it, was really high quality in fairness. So, yun. Uh, Hardware Sugar underwear when Jay or you will be the models. Kasi ako hanggang t-shirt lang ako. And even that, I was already cringe for me. So, um, definitely not doing underwear. Definitely not doing underwear. Yeah, mod mats and beer cups. Yeah, I was actually surprised with the beer cups na with Gamers Nexus. Because you're like, really, does beer and beer and computers go? Pero I guess. Basti, do you have a link for your online store? Yes, it's www.hwsugar.ph. And here we go. But we have not. If your plan is to pick it up from the, we're calling it are we calling it the Don Bosco store now? If you're planning to pick it up from the new location, please don't buy yet kasi we are not game talaga. We haven't moved yet to the Don Bosco or the Chino Roses location. So if your plan is to pick it up from there, hold off for maybe 2 weeks. We'll have settled in by there at that point. All right. So it's dark out, and I actually do have some other errands that I need to do. Oh, we do have some thermal pads. So when it's a bit the workload has sort of died down in the shop, I want to experiment with replacing the thermal pads on a GPU. So we'll do ours first. Wow, this is quite large. Damn. So we'll do it first on our test GPUs, our own GPUs here in the shop. And if it works out, then baka we can offer it as a service to customers. Actually, sometimes it's very difficult taking off the heat shroud of a GPU. So I'm always a bit scared when we start offering new services like that kasi there's a big potential that you're opening up the GPU. You don't want to screw anything up, like removing stuff, and what if we can't get it back on and things like that. So we'll take our time with this, but it is something that I want to consider, or that we are considering, and that's why we kind of stocked up on thermal pads. Hardware Sugar face mask. Sign of the times, right? Actually, last year I got an Oros face mask. That one's pretty cool. I still actually use that. So, Hardware Sugar Asukal. We are the sweetest PC store in town, even if we don't have branded sugar to our name. So, yeah, so you really know that the writing is on the wall, literally, because there are no more shelves. And the shop is looking a bit more cramped, or with all the boxes and things. But yeah, we'll transition to the new place. Maybe I'll be able to do one last stream from here. I will miss this place, but if this is the last stream from 7625 Giho, thanks so much. Thank you, Giho Center. It's been I'll never forget, really. Like, it was pandemic last year, and ako yung pinakamalapit dito sa shop eh. My place is near here, so like madalas na ako lang papasok because the staff was scattered to the four winds. Wala pa si Jay, si Gerald nasa QC, di makabalik dito sa Makati. So many days it was just me here at the shop packing items, sending things out. And medyo yung right after lockdown parang nakakapanibago, 'di ba? Parang you're wondering like, whoa, should I be outside? Can I is it could I catch it just by being here and talking to the couriers and the delivery guys? So wild times, really. And yun nga, this is where we shot that video na medyo sumikat talaga sa YouTube. And it still is a quite popular video. And actually, I've come to kind of get annoyed with that video. The 80K video I'll be talking about is the mistakes or the stupid shit I've said in my videos that turned out to be wrong. And there's actually like a very beginner mistake in that video. And I'm kind of embarrassed about it. But that video won't die. It won't die. Ayaw mamatay. So our other videos, sometimes they'll be popular, but eventually they die down. Konti lang yung nanonood per day. Pero that particular video, ayaw talaga mamatay. And it's like, it, it's like, it's a bit of a joke, really. I mean, personally for me, I kind of like think it's kind of ironic that the video where, kunwari, like, I'm a tech expert or whatever. I'm just talking about tech, and then like there's a super basic mistake there. But that's a video that people started to get to know us from. So there's all kinds of ironies there, and I'll talk about that more in the 80K special video. Pero I do find that video kind of embarrassing, but again, it won't die, and it's given us a lot of subscribers, and it really started us on the path that we're on now, and that all started here. Actually, I shot it. Um, I even remember. So the shelves were back here, and I shot it. So I put the camera here, and then so it was kind of like facing like that, so you could see the shelves in the background, which was uncommon. In the later days, I used to put the camera here so that you could see whatever test bench we were using in the background. Yeah, so I don't know, I'm sorry to get nostalgic. I know this trivia is kind of banal, but ayun. Thanks so much for tuning in for live from the shop, and yeah, if this is the swan song of Giho, thank you. You have served us well. I hope you serve your next tenant just as well. Have a good weekend, guys. Stay safe.